What's up, Jabel here, and today we have a new video, and for this one we are talking about a 14-year-old Houston, Texas boy who was shot and robbed for his shoes as he was walking to go see his aunt. On May 6, 2022, around 8:10 p.m., Houston police responded to reports about a shooting at Woodlake apartment complex located at 9545 LLE Lane in Houston, Texas. When police arrived on the scene, they discovered a boy on the ground bleeding out with a gunshot wound to his back. He was identified as 14-year-old Axel Torcios. He was then transported to a local hospital in critical condition, where he died from his injuries at the hospital the next day on May 7, 2022. According to reports at the time, the 14-year-old boy was going to go see his aunt when he was approached by two suspects, pointed a gun at him, and demanded his shoes off his feet. He then was shot, and the suspects took his shoes as he was bleeding out on the ground. A nearby witness, who was described as a former Army veteran, heard the shots and saw two men running from the scene and got into a dark colored PT Cruiser. He found the boy with a gunshot wound to his back and without shoes. As the boy was suffering from his injury, he told the witness the attackers were trying to take his shoes. The former Army veteran stood by his side as EMS arrived at the scene.
We started talking to him, what's your name, how old are you, what happened? And, he said he'd been shot, so we located the wound and the exit wound on his chest. And we were sitting there talking with him and trying to get an EMS over here and just gathering his information to give the officers when they got here, just because of the condition he was in.
A few minutes later, an apartment maintenance man seen the boy on the ground. He rushed to tell his parents what he saw. The parents ran to their son and saw he was in the parking lot outside their apartment complex on the ground. His mother rode in an ambulance with him, as his father also had the chance to be with him before he took his last breath. A few days after the murder, Houston police offered a reward of $25,000 for any tips leading to the killer's arrest, as the 14-year-old boy's family stood by.
You can contact HPD or remain anonymous by giving a tip to Crime Stoppers for a reward. Again, I want to thank Tim and Fatita for putting up $20,000. So the total reward offered in this particular case is $25,000. So whoever comes up with information leading to the arrest of these persons, the Crime Stoppers Award is $25,000. I've had an opportunity to meet and talk with these family members. We know it's tough. They've suffered a permanent loss, so we want to continue to pray for them.
A few weeks later, on July 6, 2022, a suspect was arrested in the death of Axel. He was identified as 18-year-old Ramiro Hernandez, who is charged with capital murder. On September 22, 2022, a few months after the murder of Axel, another individual was arrested. He was identified as 17-year-old Abdon Enriquez and is charged with capital murder. In Texas, capital murder carries a sentence of life in prison or the death penalty. Man, another sad case. A 14-year-old boy lost his life at a very young age over something that he did not know was going to happen. All he wanted to do was go see his aunt, who apparently stayed in the exact same apartment complex as he did as well. And that's when he was approached by two individuals, and they demanded the shoes on his feet. Now, I'm not exactly sure what type of shoes they took, and at this point it doesn't even matter about the shoes. What matters is the fact that he lost his life at a very young age. He did not know this was going to happen, and they shot him and left him there while he was bleeding out. As he was bleeding out, they took the shoes off his feet. And by looking at all this, it's even worse knowing the fact that they took the shoes while he was already injured. They didn't care about it, and they got into a vehicle and sped off. And now, by looking at all this, I'm pretty sure his family has a bit of closure now, because two people are arrested. Now, at first they did say that apparently 3 people were also involved. There was another person in the vehicle. Who knows if that was a getaway driver? No information on that. But at this point right now, 2 individuals were arrested, and they're going to suffer the consequences, and hopefully his family get justice, as he was minding his business and he didn't know that 2 people were going to approach him and rob him for his shoes and leave him there to bleed out on the ground. And that is it for this video. Leave a comment, let me know what y'all think. But yeah, I'm out.